Strauscher here. Today we're going to be talking about Stony Hill Nugget 252, the most important emergence in history. Now, have you ever struggled with happiness? Does it feel elusive to you? It's the kind of thing where we get happiness and maybe we buy a new car or whatever, and we say, boy, we're really happy. And then tomorrow morning we wake up and we realize we're not happy. If this is an ongoing example or an ongoing problem in your life, and it is for most of us, I think, what we're going to talk about today is going to be kind of useful, I think, for you. The world is going to tell you that if you want to be happy, you got to have a lot of money, you got to buy stuff, you got to have a fame, you got to stand out somehow. That's not true. What we're going to look at today is this new emergence that's happening in human consciousness and the power of it to make us happy. Okay? Really simple concept, but probably one of the more important things that you'll ever learn. And this is a learning, by the way, that's happening in human culture right now. Okay? So let's take a look at it. What is an emergence? An emergence is nothing more than nature's way of creating something new and novel, a whole new structure based on increased complexity and, for example, the Big Bang was an emergence. Out of nothing, all of a sudden emerged an entire universe, okay, as a seed of energy that exploded. That was an emergence. Nothing existed before, and instantaneously something very complex emerged. It happened again. We had a planet with oceans, air, and all these molecules and chemicals and elements were all swirling around, and then without warning, and we're not sure exactly how that happened, but without warning, all of a sudden, there was life. Life had emerged out of inert chemicals. How did that happen? Another one was human consciousness. Mammals had been around for thousands, tens of thousands of years with a level of consciousness and awareness of their surrounding. But when humans came along, we were aware of our awareness. And all of these emergences took a long time when it was a biological emergence. But today, we're looking at an emergence in human consciousness, and it can happen like that. It can happen overnight. All you have to do, because it can happen before the end of this video, is you have to change your way of thinking a little bit. That's it. And we can have a whole new emergence. So we're going to look at that. Okay. If a new emergence is a new structure of self-organization and increased complexity, then the emergence that we're looking at is nothing more than the illusion of separateness. What nature is teaching us, and she's teaching us at a very deep level, that everything in the universe is interconnected. And if we want to be in right relationship with nature, and happiness, by the way, is important, is linked with this, and I'll show you how in a second. If we're going to follow nature and be in a right relationship with nature, then we have to embrace mutual benefit, cooperation, an integral way of seeing the world as a oneness, as a unity. And if we can do that, then we can begin to manifest the whole concept of empathy, compassion, and happiness. Now, let me briefly explain. I get into this in a lot more detail in the article, so you can read it. But basically what this is saying is the illusion of separateness says there's us versus them. Okay? And we create categories of otherness. Now, what does that do? Well, it turns us into what's in it for me. It's in childhood, we learn to develop our self-identity is that we're a separate person, we're a separate self. But the minute we do, then we begin to judge the world because the world isn't operating the way we think it should. Okay? We begin to create a sense of otherness, and we're always asking what's in it for us. So in other words, what we're doing is we're creating greed. Okay? And how do we do that? All we do is we buy into that illusion of separateness. The moment we begin to pay attention to the quantum physicists and all of the scientists that are beginning to teach us that really there is no such thing as other. We're all one. We're all part of the universe. We're all interconnected. We're interdependent. And there is nobody and nothing in the universe that you can do without that isn't going to impact your life and probably end your life. Take away oxygen, take away the sun. Life wouldn't exist, at least not on this planet. So what we're talking about is if we want to have happiness and we treat all of our relationships as them, as other, in other words, we've bought into this illusion, okay? Then every relationship we have with every other human being and every other living species is going to be an it. It's a them. Now, if we're treating everyone as an a them, think about that in close relationships. We're not talking another human being because we're separate from them, right? So we begin to convert everything and everyone into the world as an it. And we treat them that way. We treat our planet as an it. We treat relationships as it. All the people in the world today who are suffering and struggling and hungry, they're all other. It's them. And the minute we put a distance between us and them, then it shuts down our ability for compassion and empathy. So, bottom line, what I'm trying to point out in this article is that if we really want to achieve happiness and be a part of this new emergence that's taken place in human consciousness, all we have to do is recognize that this is an illusion. And if you really embrace that, and it takes a little bit of work to get that into our brain and to have that become part of our bone marrow, if you will. But the moment it does, we eliminate greed, us versus them, other. Those have no meaning anymore. We're all connected. We're all interdependent. And if we want to be happy, and we want to be able to sustain happiness and a sense of gratitude, then we have to recognize that illusion and the danger of that illusion. And that's all. That's the emergence. It's that simple. If we can get our human consciousness to recognize that and really take it on as a way, a worldview of seeing the world, what's going to be created, and we are in the early stages of it right now, is we are going to become what a lot of people are saying is universal humans or universal humanity. So when people start to talk about this, really pay attention. It's connected with our ability to be happy with other people and just to be happy with the world. I don't care if the other is a tree. We have to begin to develop a relationship because that tree, by the way, is making our oxygen. Okay? So I don't think we want to persist in this concept of it. A tree is really a thou. Okay? It is a personal relationship we have with an oxygen-bearing other living species. Okay? And we wouldn't survive without those trees, by the way. Okay? So, the emergence I'm talking about, this is the illusion. Drop it, and you become part of the early stages of universal humanity. How cool is that? Okay? I hope this article, and I got a lot more material on it here in the article itself, but this is kind of an overview of it. This can change your life, okay? Think about it and sit with it for a while, and I think you'll see how it'll begin to make sense for you, okay? And if and when it does, feel free to pass it on to other people and friends, anyone that you think might be able to take in this message. And anybody who's struggling with happiness probably be a candidate for at least reading the article. And if you do, thank you so much for supporting the work we do here at Stony Hill, both our videos and the writing that we do. We really appreciate the support. A lot of these ideas need to get out into the world. Okay, have a great week. Be happy. Break down that illusion of separateness, because you're not. And we'll see you down the road.